Hello, Profit Hackers. I'm Jeremy Lott, the Chief Visionary for Foundation Accounting and Consulting. I owned a construction company for about 15 years before making a change to accounting because my accountants sucked. My goals are to simplify accounting for construction company owners, fuel your profits, level up your cash flow, and help you grow in a financially responsible way. So let's go. Hey again, Profit Hackers. This is Jeremy. And this is the Contractors Profit Hack Show. I'm excited to chat with you today. We're going to continue talking about developing a bill pay strategy and how to do that, right? So first, we talked a little bit about analyzing each bill and deciding what happens if I don't pay that bill. Number two, we talked about priority. And what is our priority? Our priority is paying ourselves and keeping the business alive, right? That's our priority. Number three, we talked a little bit about debt and what to focus on, focusing on the right things. We need to focus on our cash flow, not on debt, not on how much interest we're going to pay. We need to focus on cash flow, right? So today we're going to talk about a couple of ways that can help you implement this strategy, a couple of different things. So as I mentioned earlier and in last episode, I threw some shade at Dave Ramsey. Well, we're going to do that a little bit more today and hopefully give you a quick analogy at the end that will help you understand what I'm trying to say, right? So, my daughter was very intense about school, my oldest daughter, and she would spend hours and hours at the table, the dinner table, every day, every night, doing homework. She was very determined, and she was very determined to figure things out on her own. She didn't want to have other people help her, right? So she spent hours and hours at the dinner table, and there were a lot of tears shed while sitting at that dinner table doing homework and trying to figure things out, right? And occasionally she would come to my wife and ask for help on her homework, right? Well, I've done a lot of changing and improving and realized that they were always going to my wife for help and decided to step up and be a good dad and help out with homework when people were needing help with homework. And so she was in high school and she was working on history one day. And she'd been at it, filling out this packet for just forever. And I went over and was proactive and I said, hey, is there something here that I can help you with to help you be able to get this done, right? And she just frustratedly said something to the effect of, I just can't find this answer in the reading, right? That's when I realized what she was doing was every answer, every question on her little packet she had to fill out, she would go back to the start of the chapters for that lesson and start reading from the beginning and keep reading until she found her answer. Then she'd write it down and she'd go back. And heaven forbid, if she missed the answer the first time reading it, she had to go back and read it again. And so she was doing this over and over and over, right? And it was taking her just hours and she was crying and there was so much drama. And I finally sat down with her and once I got the download on what was going on, I said, well, why are you not using the index? And she looked at me and it was, the index? What's the index? There's not an index. What is this you're talking about? I flipped to the back of the book and showed her the index. And then we looked up her next question and we looked for a key word in that question. When we found that key word, I flipped to that word in the index and then showed her all the pages that word was on. Well, there was only one page that was in her readings for that day, in her chapters for that lesson. And so she was able to then go to that specific page and scan through it and find the answer, right? Well, her response to this was, that's cheating. And she's a very honest person and would never cheat to do that. And so this really didn't sit right with her. And instead, my wife and I had to spend the rest of that night convincing her that it's not cheating to use an index. The index is a tool you can use to help you be able to answer these questions faster and to be able to get things done. You're not learning any less, right? You're not cheating. It's using a tool you've been given to be able to help you to get things done faster and more effectively, right? Well, there are some of those tools for the business world, especially for construction. The first tool I want to mention, we talked about a little bit last time, it's debt. A line of credit is a wonderful thing. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. First, I want to talk about accounts. Now, a lot of people shy away from accounts because they want to be a cash-only business, right? Well, here's where I throw shade at Dave Ramsey. If I came up to you and asked you for, say, a $30,000 loan, would you be able to do it? It's not if you would lend to me or not. I mean, I am kind of a sketchy guy, so, you don't know. But would you be able to do it? Do you have $30,000 of cash laying around that you can pay me, right? If you don't, then you can't lend me that money. It's not that you won't, it's that you cannot, right? Well, every day you go and you send out bids, and you may send out a bid for $30,000 for a customer, right? Well, when you go do that work, you are giving that customer a $30,000 loan. You are financing their job. And so because of that, you're going to be hurting for cash because you don't have $30,000 to invest into doing that job, right? This is why cash-only businesses, especially in the construction industry, don't work. It's not about being honest or staying out of debt, right? It's got to be about your cash flow. And if you tie up the next $30,000 you're going to receive in doing this job, you're not going to have any cash flow. And as soon as you're paid that $30,000, it's going to be gone, right? So instead, we need to look at getting accounts with our suppliers, all of our suppliers. Everyone that will extend you an account, do it. Usually you get 30 days from the date of invoice to pay that bill, right? But you've got to get in the habit of putting things on account rather than a credit card or cash. And I'll tell you why not put it on a credit card in a second. Okay. So we want to use all the accounts that we can because that helps us with our cash flow cycle. We're going to start the job here. We're going to have to pay for things here, right? Or put them on account. And then back here, we're going to get paid, right? Well, if the date to pay those invoices is going to be close to that date you're getting paid or before that date, then you're going to have to come up with cash from your own pocket to pay it, right? So here is the second idea when it comes to the accounts and being able to float your cash flow and maximizing your cash flow cycle, right? If you have a line of credit, which is the best way to do this. Secondarily, if you have a credit card, you can now float that account for 30 days, pay it with your line of credit or credit card, and then that gives you, on a credit card, it gives you another 30 days. On a line of credit, it's an interest-only payment usually until you get paid for that job, and you can go back and you pay off that portion on the credit card and you pay off that portion on the line of credit, right? So that's the second thing to focus on. Number one, accounts. Number two, maximizing that cash flow cycle, stretching those things out as far as you can before you have to actually use your cash to pay things, okay? The third strategy here is the lien rights, mechanic lien rights. So what a lien right is, and the laws and the practices for it are different in each state, right? So I'm not going to get into specifics, but it is important to know the mechanics lien right laws so that you can maintain your mechanics lien rights. So the construction industry is a little bit unique. We have the opportunity, if a client doesn't pay us, to put a lien on the property where we did work, and you can actually eventually force a foreclosure so that you can get paid. So it's a way of protecting the work that you do, right? Now, like I said, there's different steps that you have to do. In Utah, you have to file a pre-lien within 10 days of starting the work, right? If you don't do that, you lose your mechanic lien rights. And then when you go to court and you sue somebody, the judge is going to look at you and say, did you do your pre-lien? No? Well, what do you want me to do then? Right? And, you know, it doesn't really go that way. If they owe you money, they owe you money. But it's a lot more difficult if you don't maintain your mechanic lien rights because that is set up in the law for us, right? The other great thing about this is that all of your suppliers, all of your vendors can add on to that mechanic and maintain their mechanics lien rights, right? And so every time that you make a purchase on an account, you need to let them know about the steps you've taken to maintain your mechanics lien rights so that they can also add on to that process, right? Then 30 days from now, when they come to you and they say, hey, this bill is owed, you can push back and you can say, hey, we both have our mechanics lien rights maintained. We're both going to get paid on this. they have not paid me cash yet. So I'm not paying that yet. Does that make sense? Now, they'll push back, and oftentimes you'll be talking to somebody who is trying to collect money and doesn't understand the mechanics lien rights, but you can speak with your vendors, you can speak with your suppliers, you can have that conversation with them about mechanics lien rights and about when to pay, right? To protect yourself and to protect them and to protect your cash flow, right? So those are three different things that you can do to help you be able to stretch out that cash flow cycle so that you don't have to pay cash until you are paid cash by your customer, right? So number one, accounts. That'll automatically give you 30 days. If you can finish and get paid in those 30 days, wonderful. Still do everything you have to maintain your mechanics lien rights, but use the accounts, right? Number two is a line of credit or a credit card, right? You can use that as a strategy to help extend when you actually have to pay cash for something, right? Now, if you have a credit card and a line of credit, you can put it on account for 30 days. Then you can pay it off with credit card, and that gives you 30 days. Then you can pay it off with a line of credit, and that gives you interest-only payments until you get paid and can go back and pay off the line of credit, right? So that's a quick, cool strategy right there. And then number three is to maintain your mechanics lien rights. Make sure that you are going to get paid for all the work that you're doing by maintaining your mechanics lien rights. Okay. One other thing. Somebody asked me when you shouldn't file a mechanics lien right and make sure that you're maintaining your rights. The answer there is simple. The cost and the time it takes to maintain those is so small, I would do it on every job. Every job. Even if it's a $100 job, do it on every job. Make sure you get paid. Make sure your vendors and your subs are going to get paid, right? And then the other caveat there is if you are doing service, so for HVAC, for plumbing, for electrical, people that are doing service calls, typically you're going to show up, find out what's wrong, go get the parts, fix it, and then get paid immediately by the customer, right? If you're paid immediately by the customer, there's no need to worry about your mechanics lien rights on that job because you've already been paid. There's no need to maintain anything, right? So focus on those three things when it comes to your bill pay strategy to help enforce and maintain your bill pay strategy and to protect your cash flow. So this is Jeremy again with Foundation Accounting and Consulting. We've been talking about strategies for paying debts, and there's one more episode on this topic. So thank you, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks for listening. If you found this episode helpful, please like and subscribe for weekly episodes to help you fuel your profit, level up your cash flow, and finance your growth. Until next time, go enjoy some green M&Ms and protect that cash.